perpetuated this slavery generationally on your people, where mother, father, child, grandchild, all that would be locked into these contracts. It was a system of indentured servitude, where there would be like maybe 7 years, 12 years, stuff like that. And after your contract, you were supposed to be compensated, i.e. acres of land. A lot of that didn't happen. In fact, the elite would keep these fraudulent contracts going and just keep adding more time. So the people ended up into this system of chattel slavery. But it started out first as just a business. And they was enslaving all kind of people. Slaves were employed not only menial tasks as street cleaners, but as actors, tutors, secretaries, counselors, and physicians. Among occupations of Negroes as named by Roman writers were actors, dancers. So someone could have you as their so-called slave or their indentured servant. You were contracted to them. You might have been an actor of that time, a dancer. Sounds crazy, right? Because of today, you got actors, writers, entertainers, artists in these same kind of slave-like contracts by the same people of Rome. Music industry, Hollywood, all that shit is just an extension, an extended appendage of the Roman Empire. Nothing's changed. Because they all still pay homage to the Queen. That bag still gets washed through the city of London, where the financial hub is. So they had different occupations. Negroes, as named by Roman writers, were actors, dancers, acrobats, soldiers, gladiators, right? A lot of them fought in the Colosseum. They were slaves. And you look at the movie Gladiator, it depicts that with Russell Crowe. Phenomenal movie. But it shows they had slaves from all different lands. If I conquered your land, I enslaved the people there. That's just how it worked. It didn't matter the color of the people. And they sold you into this because that shit was a business. Charioteers, letter bearers, bath attendants, cooks. These were all the different professions, which are professions today, which people are still contracted in, right? Many of these professions, they don't have unions because they want to keep perpetrating these fraudulent contracts on the people. Nothing's changed. Now people went from chattel slavery to wage debt slaves. Same shit. Waiters, domestics, divers, bootblacks, and the like. Others were conductors of elephants, who sometimes were of high military rank. See, they enslaved generals and all kind of people and used their service. Some slaves rose to be rulers, in all but name, such as Carcopino, were often gorged with wealth and honors, as Nicaris and Euelus, who held absolute authority in Caesar's name above the wealth and life of his subjects. Two others mentioned by Jovinal was Licinius and Copernicus. The latter, favor of Dormitini, was erroneously rich. He was an Egyptian. Jovinal called him one of the dregs of the Nile. The color of these powerful ex-slaves were not given, but some were undoubtedly Negroes. That they were dark-skinned is clear. It was the custom to whiten with chalk the naked feet of newly arrived slaves, exposed for sale. Such slaves, it appears from Jovinal, were those from the east. Certainly the feet of those already white, as blonde ones from the north, would not be whitened. Pliny mentions Pallas also coming with whitened feet. Polybius and Jovinal does so as of Licinius and Chrysopenus. Fallius, freedman of Emperor Claudinus, was lover of the empress. Later in Greece, so they're talking about so-called black emperors and empresses. In Greece and Turkey, we shall see clearer proof of unmixed Negroes. So we're talking about people in Greece and Turkey that weren't slaves, but they all had dark skin. So the original Greeks, the original Turks, all had dark skin. we shall see clearer proof of unmixed Negroes, a long line of them, holding power, as great or greater than those Roman ex-slaves. Whiteness of skin made it no easier for a slave. Fair British slaves, according to Cicero, were the least desirable. So remember, they sold you according to skill. So a lot of these pale-skinned slaves didn't have any skills, or they had inferior skills. So their work was desired less. So this is why it pushed to enslave someone of a melanated hue, because many of them were of the land, many of them could work the land, right? Not from another land, and many of them had extensive skills. In fact, the United States, the only thing it's invented was the patent office. Because remember, during slavery and all these inventions, and they speak of all this shit in Black History Month, why was all these inventions created by these so-called Africans? They were people already here of the land, so they could create shit from the resources of the land. So the United States creates the patent office, and they steal all of the patents. You know, the Alexander Graham Bells, the Garrett Morrison, and all that. Traffic light, telephone, all that shit was created by our people. The internet, created by a melanated person. All of these inventions. So it's showing you that you didn't enslave these poor, downtrodden slaves. You enslaved scientists. You enslaved brilliant minds. People that were creating shit.